All right, the latest update that we're getting on the Christian protest is that the protesters are in fact waning. There are about 1,000 protesters that are still sitting inside the cathedral premises and holding placards and raising slogans. The police have formed a two-ring security layer inside the cathedral. The media has also been asked to step outside the security rings. Those in the preventive detention will be released later this evening. That is the latest information that is coming in. Nuns and women protesters were also dragged into the police vans, and this has deeply hurt the community, according to protesters. My colleague Maha Siddiqui joins me live with more details. Maha, dramatic turns to the church protest that we were in fact seeing outside Rajnath Singh's residence. We understand that those detained will be released later this evening. What else is happening on the ground at this point in time?
Well, Rishika, the decibel levels of the protesters has certainly gone down since morning, and I can tell you that the police and the security forces have cordoned off the area in such a way that it's even blocking our view to this Sacred Heart Cathedral, where the protesters are sitting at the moment and continuing to protest, even though it's largely a group of women and young people now, since most of the men were detained, taken into preventive detention this morning. Now, as you were rightly pointing out, most of the protesters here are deeply hurt that apart from the fact that they were not allowed to protest the way they wanted to by walking up to Home Minister Rajnath Singh's residence this morning, even the nuns and the women protesters were dragged into the police vehicles and vans, and that's deeply hurt the community. They say that they were here for a peaceful protest to press their demand for action in the case of vandalization of the churches, and the minorities in the country should be protected. Their voices should be heard, and this was the most democratic way of doing it. However, they were prevented in doing that as well.
All right, clearly all those people there protesting against the strikes on churches denied an audience with the Home Minister. Maha, stay on with us. Whole host of reactions coming in to this big developing story. Let's listen in.
Sir, the Christians did protest outside Rajnath Singh's house. They have accused serious charges. They put serious charges on the centre, saying there's no security for the minorities. How do you really respond to that?
If individual incidents are happening, government will look into it, but sporadic or incident or isolated incidents should not be attributed to the intention of the government.